Did the email with those Diamonds Directs show up in your email? Do you know?
Yes, and I just put them in.
Okay, yeah, it gave me a weird, these are large files. Are you sure you don't want – because I inadvertently recorded them as stereo instead of mono, so they're double the size. So it gave me that I said send it as is, and I wasn't sure if they went through, so that's cool. Thanks. I appreciate your help on those.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't much, but I wanted to get a fucking.
Yeah, I still have to edit 2 other spots for San Antonio that I didn't get done this morning sometime during the show, so that's always fun. Let's see. Oh, and I don't have a poll question, but I was thinking, and again, we can always open this up to people, but I was thinking, what are you looking forward to in sports this weekend? Match play, men's tournament, women's tournament, and then the other one could be other, unless there's not. I don't think there's a baseball doesn't start till April 1st,
right?
So I don't think it's baseball yet. You have any other ideas?
Not really. It was kind of a slow day yesterday, but I like that one.
Okay, yeah, these Spurs nights just wipe me out, and it's a back-to-back. So if I'm punchy today, I'll be even worse tomorrow. I think Fitbit said I had 2 hours and 52 minutes of sleep last night. I shouldn't even look at it in the morning because I look at it and I go, oh, God. And then I feel worse than I felt originally. I should go, hey, maybe I got 7. Woo! It's possible. Okay, let's see. What else do I need? Let's see. I see Wes Perkins, first person in, along with Clint Proctor, Foamfoot 420, Tracy Bogert. Tracy, I got a feeling that NHL story might show up sometime during the show today. What is up, Sam Tobias? Whoa, there's the music. I need headphones. Duel. Good Thursday morning, March 25th. We declare Thursdays the beginning of the weekend because we can, because we're slackers, because we're underachievers, and because during the football season, there's Thursday night football. So therefore, God has intended that the weekend begins on Thursday. See, I like those people, Shannon. By the way, let's introduce who's here. Chris Duel Show. I'm Chris Duel. In a moment, we'll introduce the lovely and talented Dave Ayler, who I was neglectful to introduce to you yesterday till about 6:25. But she is the one, the only Shannon Salty Sweeney. You know, some of the workplaces have like a 4-day work week. Instead of working 8 hours a day for 5 days, you work 12 hours a day for 4 days. And then you get a 3-day weekend. I think that's the way it should be. I think the weekend.
Day, though?
Yeah, well, half of that you're
I can't
looking at TikTok. I know.
I thought
tough.
Productivity was up during the pandemic because people were doing more in less time because there aren't workplace distractions.
That's a great question to see whether or not, or did they, kind of screw off during their Zoom meetings and were they multitasking?
I'm sure some of them, because it's like not everything needs to be in an email.
True.
Not everything needs to be in a meeting.
Yeah. And God, if you've worked in corporate America or in radio, I mean, I have sat in on so many meetings that went 90% longer than they should have. And we've talked about this before. There's always that guy or that lady who you think the meeting's done and they go, oh, yeah, let me bring this up. They've got one more question that is totally irrelevant or only matters to them, that they could have walked up to leader of the meeting, dude or dudette, afterwards and not wasted the rest of our time. So I do like that we're doing a lot of things on Zoom and a lot of things remotely now.
My favorite are the all staff meetings that are at like 5 in the afternoon.
Oh,
'Cause you and I are morning show people. And
yes.
so that means I have to go home and then come back just for a meeting that could have been in an email.
Yeah. Well, and you asked me, at least I volunteered to you right before we came on the air, because I do the Spurs games at night. So then I get home at like 11:15, 11:30, and I got a wake up call I got up at 3 this morning because I had to come in here and record some commercials before the show, which I didn't finish. So according to Fitbit, I think I got like 2 hours and 58 minutes of sleep or something.
I think
So,
you're always around that.
oh my God.
45-minute mark.
Yeah. So then, like you say, if
That's
someone,
a nap, Chris.
yeah, that's a nap.
Sleep.
Exactly. So like you say, then at work, they go, oh yeah, we'll have a 5 o'clock meeting back at the station. It's like, come on,
No, we won't.
please. Some of us are sleep deprived. So, well, did you last night stay up? You are a Longhorn alum, a Texas ex, a Longhorn partisan. The ladies took on UCLA in a game that the men should have played, but lost to Abilene Christian. But the ladies got their shot at UCLA last night. You said you were going to watch it in bed and see how late you could stay up. How'd it go?
It would have gone better if they started on time, and I would have gotten to watch it. But no, the Aggies had to take it to OT. The Aggies do advance as well, but they were both playing in the Alamo Dome, where there are 2 courts. They were not going to play on the same court, but ESPN would not let them start. I don't know if maybe the field mic was going to be too disruptive for viewers because there was an overtime game being played next door, but they would not let them start. So that 8 o'clock start was more like 8:30.
Wow. And
again, on Sunday, they now move on, as you said, to the Sweet 16, and they'll play number 2 Maryland.
Cool.
At 8 o'clock on Sunday.
Maryland annihilated Alabama. The 2-seed Maryland beat 7-seed Alabama 100-64. That is a 36-point rout.
I think Texas fans still flinch when they think of Maryland and Texas athletics going against each other.
Help me out on that.
It's the women.
Help me out on Maryland and Texas. I don't.
Oh, the football.
I mean, I remember those games. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That's what. Yeah. That's what I'm referring to there.
Oh, I see what you're. Okay, yeah, that upset loss on like opening day.
Oh yeah.
Okay, see, yeah, you're hardcore, man. You're carrying those grudges against Maryland. You mentioned that A&M game.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Nixon, who is she a freshman? Because I was following that last night. Anyway, she hits the game to send it to overtime. Then she hits the buzzer beater in overtime.
Yep.
Scores 35 points, 7 assists. And again, I know a lot of Longhorn fans and alums don't like the Aggies. I want all Texas teams in both tournaments to advance whenever possible. Obviously, if Texas ever takes on Texas A&M, my allegiance is with Texas. But I mean, in a tournament between A&M and Iowa State, I am pulling for A&M. Are you that way, Shannon? Were you? If A&M held up the start of the Texas game for you,
mm-hmm.
B, it's Texas A&M, would you have rather seen Iowa State beat them?
Maybe if they were playing it because Iowa State, Big 12 school, right? And Big 12, you want those teams to advance as far as they can because that makes your conference look all the much better.
Wow.
Money's involved.
So
right?
you were pulling for Iowa State.
Those Big 12 schools to stick with it.
I'm about A&M. And one development, I don't know, I know UConn advanced, so I guess they didn't play last night. They must have played the night before. We've talked about this. Gino Auriemma had to do 10 days in isolation or quarantine because I think he tested positive for the coronavirus. He flew to San Antonio yesterday. So the rest of the way, UConn, which is always a force in women's basketball, they will have their Hall of Fame coach Gino Auriemma leading them the rest of the way. That's got to be an asset to them.
Absolutely. And I hope that nothing crazy happened, like he got picked it back up or comes into contact with someone who did just on his travels.
Oh, that would suck.
Down to San Antonio. And I'm surprised. I don't know that maybe they'll have him in quarantine up until that game just to be safe after he's traveled.
Good
they did
point.
with the rest of the teams.
Now, you would think if you're Gino Auriemma, it's maybe a private jet, maybe the chancellor of UConn or some well-heeled UConn alum.
Well, and speaking of COVID problems, Texas football practice has been suspended for today, and it's tentative throughout the rest of the week. Thanks to some COVID. They're not calling it an outbreak, but there were positive tests in the running back room and the defensive line room. They're chalking. They don't know exactly where it came from, but there were some players who went to Miami for spring break last week. So team meetings occurred yesterday. They did some training, but no practice. Had some testing done. Some of those tests came back positive. They'll continue testing today and probably hold some online meetings, but no in-person practice today and probably not tomorrow or this weekend.
I don't begrudge Texas football players having fun in spring break and maybe even going to Miami, but I hope they, you got to think of your team. I hope they were wearing masks and being reasonable and not being part of the crazed horde crowd that was out of control in Miami.
I'd much rather you, if you came back positive, say, I don't know how I got that because I was doing everything right.
Yeah.
Versus, oh yeah, I remember I was partying on the beach. All these people around.
Nobody else was wearing masks in Miami. Greg Abbott says it ain't no big thing.
Right.
Yeah. Let me introduce him before 6:25. Let me introduce him at about 6:19 this morning. Dave Ayler, St. Louis sports fan, loves the Cardinals, loves the Blues. Got to be ticked off at the Rams for abandoning the team and the Cardinals for abandoning. That's got to be a little brutal. There's got to be a little PTSD for St. Louis football fans, Dave Ayler. Cardinals went to Phoenix or Tempe, and the Rams, after coming from LA, left town. How do you feel?
I had already left St. Louis by the time the Rams were there.
Oh, so you didn't care?
No,
I don't care about my hometown now that I'm gone.
Well, at least not the football teams. And the football Cardinals, everybody was glad to see them gone. They had horrible ownership. That was just a joke.
But Neil Lomax and Terry Metcalf and Jim Hart and Larry Wilson and Roger Worley.
They were good like in the mid 70s and then, during the Air Coryell years and then nothing after that. So the faster they were out of town, the better for me anyway. And being a Steelers fan, that was even more.
Wait, whoa. Time out. You're a Steelers fan?
What?
Since 1978.
In St. Louis.
Yes.
See, I hated people like you. I grew up in San Antonio. I would go to Holmes High School in the mid to late 70s, and there would be dudes at high school wearing their Pittsburgh Steelers t-shirts because they were winning all those Super Bowls. I'd say, hey, man, you from Pittsburgh? You ever been to Pittsburgh? You got family in Pittsburgh? No. Never left San Antonio. Come on, Dave Ayler. You were a bandwagon kid.
Well, that's when I was 8 years old. Yes, because I wasn't going to cheer for the Cardinals because they stunk.
Wow. An 8-year-old jumps on the Steelers. Have you maintained your allegiance to the Steelers to this day?
Yes, I've got signed jerseys hanging up in my house from the Steelers and footballs.
All right.
Is your dad a Steelers fan?
No.
Too?
No. My dad. See, football.
So you did this on your own.
Oh yeah. My dad is more baseball fan than football.
All right.
Although my parents, when they lived in Phoenix, they had season tickets to the Arizona Cardinals for a while.
Whoa. Okay. So there were some ties there. Yeah. Very interesting. All right. I'm a little late for the contest, but I'm late for everything this morning. Bear with me. I do the best I can. It is the double your stimulus check. Your shot at 1,400 buckaroos right now. It goes a little bit something like this.
Keyword check the 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's check the 200-200.
Good luck. Keyword is check. We do that 5 times more throughout the day, both on AM 1300 The Zone and on Ticket 760. So keep listening. Just to set the table a little further this morning, couple of great guests in less than an hour. Just after 7 o'clock, Jeff Garcia, his podcast Locked on Spurs. He is the lead digital analyst for a couple of television stations in San Antonio on the Spurs and the NBA. Fox 29 and News 4 San Antonio. Shannon, Spurs last night got annihilated by the Clippers. Clippers scored 41 points in the first quarter. I think they hit their first 7 3-point shots, and that was the most points the Spurs have given up in any quarter all year. So they were way behind from the get-go. They never came back. It was ugly. Those two teams go at it tonight. Spurs now are 10 and 11, or no, 10 and 12 at home, 12 and 7 on the road, 10 and 12 at home. And congratulations, Shannon, to you, Luka Doncic, Mark Cuban, and your beloved Dallas Mavericks, who beat Minnesota last night in Minnesota and now have leapfrogged the Spurs into the 7 slot in the West.
It feels good. I'm not going to lie. It feels good. And it feels good knowing you're going to take on those Clippers again tonight. It did not look great last night.
God, all I want is a split against the Clippers. Kawhi led the Clippers in scoring last night. I don't have his numbers in front of me.
Bill yesterday told us, it's so far removed since he's left. But I feel like when he comes in and performs like that on your home court, Spurs fans have to feel a little bit of angst.
Yeah, see, I think Bill is a bigger man than I am.
Yeah.
And that most Spurs fans, I still feel it. I would be lying if I didn't feel it. And what sucks to me as a Spurs fan is Greg Popovich and R.C. Buford had it all lined up. I mean, Tim Duncan was going to retire. Manu and Tony were going to go away. Had Kawhi not wigged out, had he, and he seemed like the perfect Spur. I mean, was not about bling, was not about social media, was not about going clubbing and going. He was about basketball, just playing. And it looked like the Spurs were set for the next era. And when he did that to the Spurs, it kind of knocked the franchise for a loop. They've been recovering ever since. They're kind of on the, they're more than kind of. They are on the upswing with some amazing young talent, most notably recently, Keldon Johnson in last year's draft, Devin Vassell in this year's draft. Derek White looks great. DeJounte Murray looks great. But, yeah, I mean, and think about it. If anybody's been in a long-term relationship or a marriage, it's got to be a little weird when that spouse comes back to town or comes back to some event that you're at.
Yeah, and it's not that spouse is just coming back, but they're succeeding. They're doing much better than you are. Yeah. That's like a woman left you and she married John Stamos. Right. And she's coming back for Christmas with your kids. And in Kawhi's case, he married John Stamos, got the ring, got a great settlement in that divorce.
Oh, yeah.
Moved on to the next person.
Yeah, he's moved on to Justin Timberlake. So
he's a minority owner in the Grizzlies. So let's not do that.
Well, I'm just saying. So, yeah. But, yeah, no, and I'm working on it. I understand philosophically that it's not good to cling to you need to let things go, and that one of the greatest virtues on the face of this earth is forgiveness, and you want to be happy for other people. But I'm not yet happy for Kawhi. And I could lie and act like I'm Bill Schoening, act like I'm a bigger man, that I'm okay.
To be fair to you, it's hard to forgive when he hasn't owned up to causing all that drama.
True. And
like, what are you apologizing for?
Yeah.
You need details.
He turned his back on his teammates. I mean, he turned his back on the city. He turned his back on the state, on a coaching staff. So yeah. Okay. Not that I can't let it go. Somebody did tweet last night, you guys need to just let go of Kawhi, or there's something wrong with you. You need to seek help.
Dude went on and won another championship and then went to another team, and this is still what he's remembered for.
Yeah.
So I think that speaks more to him.
And he's still in town, and they'll do it again tonight. But usually, he doesn't usually play back-to-backs. I don't know his status for. I have a feeling just to spite us, he'll do it tonight. All right, I'll play.
He's listening right now.
Yeah, I'll go for 35 and 15 tonight. So, all right. Coming up, we'll talk more both NCAA tournaments, the men's and the women's. It continues to unfold. We'll talk more Deshaun Watson. There's all kinds of things happening in and out of the world of sports. You can join us. Phone lines are open whenever we don't have a guest, and we got a guest at 8:06, Jeff Garcia. And no, 8:06 is Tanner Carlson. 7:06 is Jeff Garcia. Little brick house by the Commodores. So you can call us at any time, 800-707-9760. We stream live video on AM 1300 The Zone and Ticket 760's Facebook pages. There's a YouTube link to that video. We tweet it out at Ticket 760 and at AM 1300 The Zone. Oh, and we're working on a poll question. We'll have that for you in the next segment. All that and a bag of chips. She is Shannon Salty Sweeney. He's Dave Ayler, an 8-year-old bandwagon Pittsburgh Steelers fan, turning his back on Jim Hart and Terry Metcalf and J.V. Kane and the St. Louis Cardinals in the 70s. Quick break. We're with you till 9. It's the Chris Duel Show. All right. Hector, Louisa, Sam, Roger, Tracy, Rudy. Good to see you, Rudy. Rudy, I am, of course, pulling for Southern Cal.
Did you get my message?
And they beat Oregon by double digits earlier in the year. So, yeah. Clint, Steve Duraco says fire pop. Come on, Steve Duraco. How dare you, sir? Conrad Dobler. There you go. See, I can name a lot, and so can you, Tracy. Roger Worley, number 22 on defense. Larry Wilson. Conrad Dobler on the line. Jim Hart, Terry Metcalf. I think John Gilliam was a Cardinal before he went to the Vikings at wide receiver, I think. And I used to like watching the Tom Landry show. Steve Duraco will remember this. Landry could not pronounce Metcalf with a T. He'd say Medcalf. I think we got to find a way to stop Terry Metcalf. I think Metcalf is the key to the running game of the Cardinals. The Tom Landry show was so great. Like 30 minutes before the NFL Today with Brent Musburger, Phyllis George, and Irv Cross, and Jimmy the Greek Snyder. It was the Tom Landry Show, hosted by Frank Gleber. Michelle Johnson from Marysville, Kansas, welcome. I have got to put up the poll question. Let's see. Can't even type this morning. Okay. What weekend sporting event are you most excited about? Vote here and join. Okay. In alphabetical order to be fair. So match play LMN. Yep, that comes before NCAA. Put Sweet 16 if it'll fit. And then other And we post. Woo! 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 Okay, so now I'm going to get out of that. Got my Sports Illustrated baseball preview, but I haven't even been able to look at it yet. I've had so many crazy things going on. Had to come in here early this morning to record commercials, which I tried to do during the Spurs game last night, but we were having equipment malfunctions. Woo! Woo, woo! Let's see. Wes Perkins fully vaccinated. Way to go, Wes. I envy you. This morning, I got on the HEB website because we have limited vaccines at HEB. Not a damn thing available. There's 2 appointments available in Midland and Abilene. I could have gotten an appointment in Midland or Abilene, but I chose not to. Don't have a whole lot of time to go drive into Midland or Abilene these days. Mary Anthony also fully vaccinated. Sorry you have a sore arm, Mary. Yeah, now, those cards were animals. Thank you, Tracy Bogert. Dan Deerdorf. Good job, Tracy. Alan Green says a former Spurs player that shall not be named still sucks. Feels good to be back home. Welcome back, Alan Green. Yeah, I used to on this show call him the one who shall not be named. We did not name him for a long time. We did not utter his name. Oh, okay. Thank you for that. Woo, we're getting a phone call. Jason's calling us. Really? Okay. Okay. I'll check that. Wes Perkins, he's still the deuce. Anthony Huerta is fully unvaccinated. Hopefully that changes soon. Yeah, that's where I am, Anthony. My mom is 97. On Tuesday, we got her second shot at the Alamo Dome. But yeah, I continue to fail at getting vaccinated. Yeah, number 2 in more ways than one, Sam. That kind of works for me. Oh my God, Tracy, I saw that. Ted Cruz not wearing the mask, talking to the media, spewing his droplets for several feet and saying he could do so because he was fully vaccinated. Apparently not realizing you can still spread the virus. You can still acquire the virus. The vaccine will mitigate and dramatically lessen, in most cases, the severity of the virus should you get it. Yeah, I would, if a frog ran against Ted Cruz, I'd vote for the frog. And that's not a Democrat-Republican thing. I think he's a smarmy weasel. He's like a smarmy, lying, sickening weasel. Give me any decent Republican other than the Dan Patrick we have. I like the sports Dan Patrick, but I'm just Ted Cruz is not originally a Texan. He's kind of a carpetbagger. Give me a real Texan. Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Independent. Agree, Mary Anthony. My can of dinner. Yep. I can relate. Very nice. Dave Ayler is your soundscape stylist. Rocking in the free world as he always does. Always great to have him, although I am distressed to learn that he was a bandwagon Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I had friends, and we're going to go to the phone lines in a moment. Jason, I see you there. Phone number 800-707-9760. Shannon, when I was growing up, and again, the Cowboys were great. It was the Landry Cowboys, Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett, Bob Lilly. But the Steelers kept beating them in Super Bowl. Super Bowl 10, Steelers beat the Cowboys by 4 points, 21-17. Super Bowl 13, Steelers beat the Cowboys by 4 points, 35-31. Thanks for nothing, Jackie Smith. Not that I can't let it go.
He was a Cardinal, too.
He was a big Cardinal, Hall of Famer.
And he lived in the St. Louis area for, maybe he still does.
And very
good singer. He's a very good singer. He used to sing the anthem before hockey games and stuff. And
never knew that.
Really, really good singer.
I never knew that. And what sucks, Dave, and here I am bringing up that memory of that dropped pass in the end zone from Roger. He was a Hall of Fame tight end.
Yeah.
For him to be remembered for that one drop is so
he redefined
tragic.
He made that position into an offensive instead of just another blocker.
Yeah, he was a stud, and I'm a big jerk for bringing that up. But my point, Shannon, I would go to Holmes High School in San Antonio and see other kids wearing Pittsburgh Steeler T-shirts, and then I go, dude, why? You have America's team. You got Landry. You got Staubach. We got a great team. The Cowboys. It's like, my favorite team is whoever's playing the Cowboys. I can understand hating them now with Jerry Jones, and I can understand hatred. To have hated them they were so cool in the Landry era. So I'm a little bitter about a few things, not just Kawhi, but bandwagon Steeler fans in San Antonio. I'm willing to forgive Dave Ayler because he was an 8-year-old.
Yeah, and he wasn't living in San Antonio.
Yeah. When you could have been a Cowboys fan. Yeah, Dave had the Cardinals.
That's the Cowboys fan isn't happening for me.
Yeah, well, all right. Yeah, because you're Steelers.
That's not what your shirt says, Dave.
My shirt? The shirt doesn't say anything.
Exactly, but it's blue.
That is cowboy blue. And it's almost like
it's more green.
It's almost like a silverish. What is that? A hoodie? What do you have on? What is that? Oh, that's a mask.
Are you wearing the cursed jersey? Because that's what it looks like to me.
If this helps curse the Cowboys, then yes. This is more green though than blue.
Speaking of which, Shannon, I will never wear a blue Cowboys jersey because I know the blue jersey jinx is real. My friend,
sell those?
I know Track Smack Dawn. My friend, I love Dawn Hall. I love her. We've had her on the show, big NASCAR man and reporter. She once got me a Christmas gift. It was a blue jersey. She didn't know. And so I opened it in front of her, and she wanted to see joy on my face. She gave me a gift. Right. And I looked at it and just, thanks, Dawn.
What do you do with that?
I returned it.
You don't, like, try and get it signed or something and then hang it, or
No, I don't want it in the house. I don't want it touching me. I returned it. I think she got it at Academy, and I returned it and got a white Cowboys jersey because we'll go to the phone lines. 800. Some things I can't let go. Jackie Smith. 800 707 9760. On the phone line is Jason. Jason, thanks for calling. What is up, Jason?
Happy Friday Eve, Chris, Shannon, and Dave.
Yes, Friday Eve. I like it.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to say to everybody, if you haven't already, you need to follow Shannon on Twitter and on TikTok.
Woo!
Just follow.
Oh, thanks.
Now, the reason why I'm calling is because Shannon, I saw your post last night on TikTok. I'd like to do a PSA for Shannon. For those of you who are saying that she does not belong on the radio, back off.
Who the hell is saying that?
She posted like a little video on TikTok with people saying that she doesn't belong on the radio. She doesn't know what she's talking about on sports. Yes, she does. And hence the name Salty. And if y'all are listening to this, please go back to the radio show from Monday where she was very salty about a certain coach up at Texas. Shannon, thank you for being on the radio. I hope that Ticket 760 and the Zone keep you on for the rest of the time. The Crystal Show.
Oh, thank you so much.
Great
Made
call,
my
Jason.
morning.
So thanks for the call, Jason. So Shannon, are you getting some hate on TikTok and social media?
No, I mean, I've been in the game for a minute now, about 4 or 5 years now.
Not your first rodeo.
And there's just a trend on TikTok right now where you take quotes from, either like people are doing what their kids say or what their students say, and then turning them into inspirational quotes. And because my niche is, sports and radio, I was like, okay, well, what are the things that messages I've received over the years from listeners? And so that's what I turned it into.
Yeah, first of all, haters gonna hate. Secondly, they hate you because they ain't you. Yeah, but no, I will never forget this. Very, very early in my radio career, real early, like weeks into it. I'm doing news talk radio on WOAI, and the boss man, Andrew Ashwood. Andrew, they called him the gorilla. He was a big guy. And so it's news talk, so it's a lot of politics. So Andrew walks in during a break and throws down some emails, some hard copy printed emails in front of me, and a lot of them said, "We hate Chris Duel. What does he know about politics? He's just a comedian. He's got a squeaky voice. He doesn't have a voice for radio. Please get him off the air. He sucks. He's awful. We hate him." And so he's looking at me while I'm reading these emails, and I'm like, Am I fired? And he reaches out his hand and he gives me a high five. And he goes, "Dude," "you're breaking through. You got some haters." He said the worst thing is to have people not caring one way or another. He said 50% of the people who tune into Rush Limbaugh tune in because they hate him. But they want to know what he's going to say. So, but that was just as somebody who was like new to the radio game, it was just such a cool moment. And I never thought that, by getting a reaction that is, a negative reaction, that in his eyes, that was fine. That was cool. And that was progress. So,
yeah, the voice comments always are like, okay, well, that's kind of one thing I can't change.
Yeah, me too.
Myself, I can change my inflection, but I can't change the actual voice. And then I also had one on there. Someone did say, I was at a remote once and they sent me a Facebook message, said they were going to come and find me. I was like,
oh my God, people are just, well, and
luckily they never showed up.
Yeah.
That was a moment. I was on high alert the rest of that remote.
It's worse now than ever because and that's why Twitter, especially, the default move is cynicism, just anger, negativity. Getting another phone call at 800-707-9760. Our good friend Wes Perkins. Wes Perkins, what is up with you this morning, Wes?
Hey, good morning. And listen, I wanted to echo the sentiments of that last caller. As you guys know, I'm as diehard a Texas Tech Red Raider as there is, and
we know it.
I love that Shannon, I love that you have such an introspective view of the Longhorns and of all sports for that matter, that you always look at the best. And I try to be the same way. I know I'm a bit of a homer, but there's sometimes that you want to go with your heart. This, you understand, and I think there's a difference. I mean, you understand all things sports, and your perspective is really unique. And I think that if anybody was really saying that, they're not very bright. That's dumb.
Oh, thank you, Wes. You guys, it's only 6:47. I don't want to cry today.
Well, I had a good
video.
I had a good he's still a good friend, but he had a flaw. A friend of mine once, and Wes, you probably know who Jeannie Jekyll is. She was a long time columnist, an entertainment media columnist in the Express News. And when I was a comic, there was another comic who hated her. Hated Jeannie Jekyll. What he would do was she would write a column. He would get a red pen and circle and correct her grammar and then mail that back to the editor of the San Antonio Express News. Go, she sucks. She can't write. And the more I got to know this guy, he was a journalism major. He wanted to be a columnist. So a lot of times when people hate, they look at you and you're doing what they wish they were doing, so they hate you for it. And then sometimes, and I think this was going on with this friend of mine, when it's a man hating on a woman, I think there's a little bit of that, envy as well. So, ooh, there's a woman doing what I want to do. So I think there's a little of that can be going on too. I don't know, but and again, this was an otherwise decent guy, but this was like something that was in him that made him go after
childhood trauma of some sort.
But it was envy. What it really, the more I analyzed it, it was envy on his part. Okay. So there you have it. Yep.
Shannon and Dave, for that matter, unfortunately I can't listen to your full show today because I got an early morning. But I do want to ask you before it gets going too far down the road. The Spurs make a move today. They don't make a move at all. They make multiple moves. And also, question mark, was some of the poor play last night, some of the lackluster play last night, some of the nerves or maybe some of the, thinking about the deadline. I know most of the time we say, well, the pros are not going to do that, but they are human after all. Just wanted to get your takes, both of you, on that idea.
All right, Wes, that we'll react here. Thanks so much for the phone call, and have a great day. And I'm sorry you can't listen to the whole show. There is a podcast if you miss anything, but thanks, Wes. I always say this about the Spurs at trade time. We never know. I don't have a feeling. I think they like where they are. The DeMar DeRozan, I don't think they're going to get anything for LaMarcus, so I don't think they're going to move LaMarcus. They're going to buy him out, in my opinion. But DeMar DeRozan, it's his option year contract. I mean, if they're not in contract negotiations that are working with him, do you get some value instead of allowing him to walk, or are you going to re-sign him? I'm hoping. I love DeMar DeRozan's play this year. I'm hoping they re-sign him, and that's a great question, Wes. We will ask Jeff Garcia in a moment. He's going to join us after 7. I don't think the lackluster play last night. I think the Clippers were red hot. They came out of the gate, scored 41 points, punched the Spurs in the mouth. The Spurs were on their heels all night long and just could not recover. And the Clippers are damn good. So, Shannon, do you think the Spurs will make a move before? And I got to look up when the deadline is. Is it 4 o'clock today?
The deadline is 2 p.m. Central Time today.
See, I'm glad you know your sports.
Be moving pretty quickly
2
here.
p.m.
There is reports that Trey Lyles wants out.
Huh.
So I don't know if he will maybe force his way out, or if they'll move him because he does want out. He's only been there since 2019. I don't know what the fuss is. And also there's they're saying, well, LaMarcus wants to go to. He's a ring chaser now. He wants. I
did hear that. Yeah.
Get a ring. So I don't know. You send him where, to LA or the Nets? Who else is really in that conversation right now? The Jazz?
Man, the Jazz, that's not a bad. If you're the Jazz, the veteran leadership of LaMarcus, maybe. Quinn
Also,
Snyder.
the Lakers, and they need a big man right now.
Yeah, Lakers want just a big man and a veteran and a guy who can score, especially with LeBron and Anthony Davis out. That might not be bad. Dave Ayler, you think the Spurs make a move before 2 o'clock today?
I don't think so. I agree with you. I don't think there's – and with the LaMarcus Aldridge, nobody's going to take him.
No, I agree.
What about additions?
I don't think so. I think they're going to stick with the team they have.
I think they're relatively – I mean, they don't like that they fell into 8th place last night, but I think if playing the long game, I think they're relatively happy with where they are. I think they've got a lot of good young talent, and I don't think they want to pay extra or give up assets for whoever might be out there. I have heard some Jarrett Allen talk, but
his is also, I think his contract is up at the end of the year, so his is, I think, more on the free agent side.
Was he originally from Texas? I think Bill told us that, right? Yesterday?
He's from the Austin area.
So that might, he may want to come here and then resign. It could happen. Whoa, nice. There it is. 1999. The album I got in 1981. Oh, and I think I know why you're playing this. We'll talk. This is a big day, not only in the history of Prince, but
dead?
Yeah, well, today was his birthday. And they're having a big event at Paisley Park today. You can go look at his the urn containing his ashes. We'll talk. Is that why you play this, Dave Ayler? Are you that hip to Prince's life and death?
Not that hip. I was actually playing it because Spurs first championship 1999.
I like that. Let's party like it's 1999. I like that too. Quick break. Speaking of Spurs, Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs. Next. You're listening to the Chris Duel Show. All right. I am getting more coffee. I'll be back. Hector Gomez, good morning. Who said they had a birthday yesterday? Greg Helt. Happy birthday yesterday. If you would have told us yesterday, we would have given you a shout out on the radio for that, man. David Barrett Harbor. Thank you, David. David giving Salty a little love. Yeah,
Very nice.
Usually when they throw hate at you like that, there's a little envy going on. And I think there's also that weird misogynistic male thing that kicks in. I think. I could be wrong. All right. Coffee, and then I got to edit 2 commercials. Where's my mask? Greg Abbott, if you're watching, I believe in science, and I believe in medicine. And I believe in protecting my fellow Texans. So, there's that. Caffeine, it's the wonder drug that works wonders. Because the company frowns on crystal meth in the morning.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think it's in the manual, the employee guidebook, I think.
Oh. What are you watching this weekend, guys, from the poll? Or are we going to watch some TV? Does anybody watch the new Marvel Captain America, Captain something or other? Falcon? I don't even know. I haven't finished WandaVision yet. I'm behind.
All right.
Ernest, Austin SC starts in mid-April. They just released their schedule yesterday. They've actually been practicing across the street because their practice facilities aren't completely built yet. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that's what it is. That's what I need to watch. I don't know about Justice League, Wes. I don't know about that one. After that last Wonder Woman, been pretty taken out of the DC universe.
Okay. Yeah, he's usually pretty good about it. So I'm assuming he'll call you by about 05. I'm editing a I was trying to record. There were like 5 commercials I had to record. So I tried to do it during the Spurs game last night, but we had an equipment malfunction. So I had to come in early today. I thought, all right, I'll give myself 30 minutes. That'll give me plenty of time. No, not even close. I got 3 done. I got 2 more that I've got to finish. Let's see here. Let's do that. I got to get 1 less second in here. Let's do that.
Sam, how long is Justice League? It's like 4 hours.
That's going to do it. Let's see.
I've been watching Firefly Lane every night with a glass of wine like I'm a 45-year-old woman. Oh my God, this shirt has pockets. Didn't know that.
Now available here. I'm talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative cell therapies for medical professionals at QC Kinetics in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. Chris Duel here. These revolutionary treatments not only alleviate your pain, they speed up the healing process. We're talking regenerative cell and platelet-rich plasma therapies. All new solutions that really work. If you've got pain in your knees or your shoulders, hips, lower back, you may be able to avoid invasive surgery with these proven non-surgical options with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. Call now to schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318, 210-571-0318. If you got chronic pain, if you want to avoid surgery and steroids, call Thank you. Kinetics in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. Call now, 210-571-0318, 571-0318. What was the... Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain, pain associated with arthritis, or even an old injury? Well, listen carefully because there are new breakthrough treatments now available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative cell therapies for medical professionals at QC Kinetics in
Four hours is too long for any movie. I won't make it. Oh,
That's a little much. Save that. Come back to it.
Alan, don't be like that. Austin SC is here for Central Texas, welcoming all fans to grow the
Uh-oh,
win.
a dogmatic San Antonio person. I'm not going to follow Austin FC. I'm more of a pro. Yeah. San Antonio soccer fans were led to believe that we were getting an MLS team. And I mean, they demonstrated they were hardcore. I think it would definitely work here. So
I think after all the World Cup attention that Austin shows towards those matches and the U.S. national team, I think because we had really high numbers for those.
Yeah.
They decided. And the location of the stadium is just impeccably perfect.
Why is it perfect? Tell me why.
It's in the Domain area, which is very, very central.
Very she.
Like it's so like I don't go to a lot of basketball games anymore because getting to the Irwin Center just in that area is so difficult. You have to fight traffic for any sort of, late game in the evening. It's just not worth it.
Here we go. Lucinda Sullivan, good morning. I saw you there earlier, meant to say hi. Alan Green, Jason Paniagua, Fonzie J. Rodriguez, one of my favorite names, and a fan of the Tommy's original chili cheeseburger.
Now, Chris Duel.
The weekend is here. We do declare that the weekend begins on Thursday, March 25th, 2021. The Chris Duel Show, along with Shannon Salty Sweeney, soundscape stylist Dave Ayler. As we in San Antonio, Austin, and South Texas, those of us who are Spurs fans, unlike Shannon Salty Sweeney, who is a Dallas Mavericks fan, she rejoices. Dallas pretty handily beat the Minnesota Timberwolves last night at the Target Center in Minneapolis. So with the Mavericks win and the San Antonio Spurs 134-101 loss to the LA Clippers, lose by 33, give up 41 points in the first quarter, the most the Spurs had given up in any quarter. It was ugly from the get-go, and it never got a whole lot better. Although you look quarter by quarter, in the second and third quarter, the Spurs played a lot closer to the Clippers, but the fourth quarter was pretty god-awful as well for San Antonio. One of our go-to guys on all things Spurs, he puts out more Spurs content, information. He is prolific around the clock. He is Jeff Garcia of the Locked On Spurs podcast. He is the lead digital reporter for two television stations in San Antonio, News 4 San Antonio and Fox 29. Jeff Garcia, welcome back. How you doing, man?
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody's morning going?
It's going relatively well. As a Spurs fan, I knew, and I still know, and there's still hope. This is a 9-game homestand. The Spurs came into it at 10-10. They're 0-2 with 7 left, so they're now 10-12 at home. And I hope they can bounce back and get a split with the Clippers tonight when they go at it for a second time. But not a lot of things to hang our hats on based on last night's performance.
Yeah, and I think that is getting lost in the loss, and then of course the overall 3-game losing streak is this homestand not starting off on the right foot. Look, this is the longest in franchise history. Also, I believe after this month, I don't think they're going to be in San Antonio for not that much. Maybe a handful of games, but the bulk of the remaining schedule beginning this month is going to be on the road. So they need to preserve these last 7 games in San Antonio to have some sort of shot at. Look, I know the play-in tournament is good. Gives them a shot at the postseason. But do they really want to tack on more games to an already crammed second half schedule? And knowing that, hey, you're going to be playing against teams that are just as desperate as you are. They also want to crack the playoffs. They were hovering right there around that 6 seed, 7 seed, where they can avoid all that mess. That loss last night to the Clippers dropped them all the way down to 8. So I think the bigger picture here is they have to finish out the homestand strong and begin tonight again versus the Clippers. I mean, but yeah, it's a tall task. This Clipper team seems a lot more focused, especially coming off that miraculous come from behind win versus the Hawks right before the game in San Antonio. And this doesn't bode well as well. We know the Spurs are below 500 in the second game of a back-to-back. The Clippers are undefeated on the second.
Yikes.
No, this year. So the Spurs have themselves a test tonight. But I'm pretty sure Sweeney over there is loving the Spurs. Tough times, aren't you, Sweeney?
I mean, it warms my heart a little bit, just after that huge Mavs win last night. But you just mentioned how great the Clippers are back to back. They go head to head again tonight. What adjustments do you see the Spurs needing to make in order to get this win here in San Antonio?
You would think it would have been simple in the first game last night, but apparently it wasn't. Run them off the three-point line. Just run them off. That's what ultimately doomed the Spurs to start the game and throughout the game. When you have the Clippers would go 17 for 33, 51.5% shooting from the three-point line, that's not going to cut it. It's bizarre. It's baffling when you have a team like the Clippers that pretty much live by the three. And even though they have guys that can finish at the rim, near the paint, and everything, Kawhi, Marcus Morris, Paul George, they struggle from anything inside that three-point line. And if their three-point shot is not falling, then they're pretty much going to be a long night for the Clippers. The Spurs have to do that tonight. They got to run them off that three-point line. If they do that, they'll have a shot. Now, obviously, we don't know what the injury report is. And, if Walker's back, I think that'll help. If Gay is back, I think that'll help as well. There's a couple extra bodies to throw at the Clippers. But, yeah, they pretty much had no answer for Kawhi, for Marcus Morris. Of course, the two guys that Spurs fans love to hate just went off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you had Paul George, and then off that bench you had sweet Lou Williams. They just had their way with San Antonio. And for the Spurs, it was a tough loss. You had a little hope because they went to their gym earlier in the season and they beat the Kawhi-led Clippers. But it was a different story last night. If anything, that was a silver lining in all this is that the young guys got some run. Luka Samanic really, really turned it up. He took advantage of those 17 minutes on the court. He looked like he was out there angry, ready to prove that he's worthy of a spike in minutes. Popovich alluded that might be coming. And I think that's smart because you're going to need bodies, Chris, Sweeney. As the season goes on for San Antonio, it gets tougher and tougher. This playing every other day, and let's not forget, they still have a handful, more than a handful of back-to-back games left on the schedule. It's going to catch up to them. They're not the only one in the boat. There's other teams going through it, but the Spurs, mathematically and schedule-wise, they do have the toughest schedule. So you figure that's going to catch up to them sooner or later. And if you can have a guy fresh off that bench like Samanis or Trey Jones or Witherspoon, that'll be great. But just be competitive. That's all I think as Spurs fans you want. Just be competitive as well. And also, to maintain those turnovers. You can't turn over the ball over against the Clipper team. 16 turnovers. That's usually not the Spurs way. They're one of the best teams at valuing the ball. But double-figure turnovers against one of the best teams in the West is not going to cut it, guys.
He is Jeff Garcia of the Locked on Spurs podcast, talking Spurs with us. We got a call earlier, Jeff, from our good friend Wes Perkins in the 6 o'clock hour. He asked two questions, and I'll pose them to you because you are laser focused on the Spurs. The trade deadline is today, 2 o'clock Central Time. He was wondering if part of the Spurs' lackluster play might have been that there was a looming trade deadline. Might that consciously or subconsciously have been on the mind of any Spurs players? And the follow-up question to that is, with the trade deadline coming, do you see the Spurs making any moves? Your thoughts on both of those questions?
Yeah, Jakob Poeltl was asked that before the game during the media session about the trade deadline creeping into the team's locker room. Does that get in there? And Poeltl was honest. He said that, yeah, it does get into the locker room. The guys do talk about it, but, they try to, calm it down with humor.
I don't think that that affected him. I just think it was just too much Clippers. I really believe that. And the Spurs simply did not come out with their A game. And DeJounte Murray, after the loss, he looked like he didn't want to be talking to media. He looked very, very upset. It was interesting to hear what Murray said after the loss, that he felt, in his opinion, that this team didn't come out and value or respect their opposition. So I think it was just more of the Clippers versus the trade deadline. Now, the trade deadline, I mean, I don't think you're going to see any type of blockbuster move from San Antonio. I don't think you're going to see, megastar from such and such team be traded to San Antonio for LaMarcus Aldridge. I don't think you'll see that. All signs are pointing that the Spurs are going to be quiet again. Popovich did address the trade deadline last night, saying that historically the Spurs do not make a move. He said that they prefer chemistry and familiarity over shaking things up mid-season. I mean, it was to the point that he had to dig in his mental vault to go all the way back to the Nazr Muhammad trade with New York way back when, and the Spurs went en route to winning titles this year. But things are different now. Maybe you were able to pull off a trade like that because you had the stabilizing forces like Manu, Timmy, and Tony. This year you don't have that. So you can see where he's going with that point. But yeah, I mean, it's rare that the Spurs are going to make a deal today. And if they do, they're very, very minor. I can see a minor move happen, like Rudy Gay get traded, something like that, or, for some sort of minor part. I mean, I know the joke is that the Spurs are usually make a move. The last move they did was the Nando De Colo one. But no, they if you look back at history, they really have made small moves. I mentioned the Nazr Muhammad. There's been the Theo Ratliff. There's been the Kurt Thomas deals. There's even been the Brent Berry deals. They make small ones. I don't expect any blockbuster midseason deal in the next few hours.
Well, Jeff, you mentioned small moves. My San Antonio reporting that Trey Lyles wants out of San Antonio. What do you think that contention is there?
I saw that report, and I don't. First of all, if it's true, you kind of don't blame Trey. And, here he is, being stapled to the bench for the most part, only gets spot time when people are hurt. You saw what he did last season before the pandemic shut down the season, or put it on pause. He was on that roll. He is that 3-and-D guy. He is that 3-and-D big. He can knock down the three. We've seen it last year. Rebound. He's one of the better rebounders last year. And then, unfortunately, he got hurt and the appendectomy, and he couldn't make it to Orlando last year. And then, they go youth movement, and it seems like he's not part of that youth movement plan. If he was, he would have been getting a lot of minutes by now. So if it's true that he wants out, then you can't blame the guy. He's still young. He does have value. He hasn't been able to get time on the court to get a rhythm to show that he can do what he did before last year's pause. So if it's true, yeah, I mean, again, that's just right up there, Sweeney, one of those small moves that the Spurs could make at the trade deadline.
Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs, talking Spurs with us on the Chris Duel Show. You talked about earlier, Jeff, the fact that last night with the Spurs loss and the Dallas Mavericks win, the Spurs fall to number 8. And I agree with you. They are going to have that play-in tournament. And you would like to avoid that if you possibly could by finishing high enough in the Western Conference standings. Do you know exactly how that is going to work? I know number 9 gets in, and so is it 9 and 10, or is it? How does that work?
The best nutshell approach to this is you want to land 6 or higher. I'm sorry, yeah, about 6 or higher, you pretty much secure your spot. You can avoid that mess. 7 through 10, that's where it gets all complex. So basically, it's they'll take those 7 through 10 teams and bracket them off. So, for example, let's just say 7 plays 10 and then 8 plays 9. Then the winners of those 2 sets advance, and they'll play for 7 and 8. That's the best approach to think about this. Just pretty much block out slots 1 through 6, look at 7 through 10, and then that's your tournament right there. But again, do the Spurs want to do that? I mean, you're tacking on more games that you don't necessarily need. And we know this team is young, and we understand that. We get that. Jakob Pertl said that they should be able to handle the rigors of the second half schedule because they're a young team. But you already see an injury to Lonnie Walker, his wrist injury. That's what kept him out versus the Clippers. He's admitted that his wrist isn't feeling well. Okay, so do you want to add more time to that? We know Derek White. He is starting to come around a bit, but he's been up and down this year. Going back to Lonnie, his inconsistencies will added more games. Add to that, another hurdle for him. All in all, I just think the Spurs need to really gotta focus on getting these games because these losses, especially in that first half, I think those losses that you scratch your head like, why did you do that, Spurs? They're gonna catch up to them. They had no business losing to Houston the way they did when that Harden deal went down. And Chris, seriously, did they have like even 5 games in uniform that night? I mean, the Spurs still lost to them.
Yeah.
You're going to see those type of losses creep up to them if they don't just have that razor focus. And credit to Pop, he's very positive even after a loss. He still tipped his cap to the Spurs squad, saying that they played tough. But yeah, they're going to have to clean up a bunch of stuff, and it starts tonight.
Well, and you mentioned head-scratching losses, and the biggest, I agree with you, Jeff, was that loss to a depleted Houston Rockets team who only, if they had one less player, they couldn't have played that night. Yeah, I look at Charlotte a couple of nights ago, the first game of this homestand. Charlotte had just gotten the word that LaMelo Ball was gone. That they're a team that was sub 500. They're a team that was not good on the road, yet the Spurs let that one get away. I know sometimes, like last night, a very good team like the Clippers are going to come out red hot, and you are going to lose one by a significant margin. That just happens in the NBA. But I agree with you. You got to win the games that you're supposed to win. You're supposed to beat Charlotte on Sunday. You're supposed to beat Houston several weeks ago. But I think you're also, and as you mentioned, the Spurs beat the Clippers in LA earlier in the season. I think on a back-to-back, and I know you're right, the Clippers have not lost the second night of a back-to-back. The Spurs are not good this year on the second night of a back-to-back. But in your house, if you've got back-to-back games against the Clippers, and I know the Clippers are good, but you should be able to at least get a split. So I just think tonight, I think if you get a split tonight, I think it's a huge confidence builder. I think you've taken care of business and done something you were supposed to do. But I think the flip side, if you lose tonight, you will have been 0-3 on this homestand. You dig a bigger hole into that 8 slot. I haven't even looked at how far away we are from falling into the 9. I'll look at that here in a moment. But I think this is a big game tonight for the Spurs to try to find a way to beat a team that we already know they're capable of beating from earlier in this season.
Yeah, and also too, you look at the inverse. The Spurs, they're under 500 at home, but they're above 500 on the road. So maybe it's not going to be too bad, Chris. Maybe they need to play on the road more to beef up their schedule. It's just so topsy-turvy this year, where you see teams struggle at home versus playing well away from their gyms. So, the Spurs definitely got to get this one tonight. The good news is if once this game is over, win or lost, there are winnable games at home to finish out this homestand. You got the Bulls. They're going to be looking for a measure of revenge after the Spurs came back to rally in their gym. You got a back-to-back set with the Kings. You got the Hawks coming into town. And you have the Cavs, and it doesn't end well, though, because once you finish that game, then begins that crazy month of April where they're away, and they start off against the Nuggets in their gym. So that's why these next few games are valuable. The Spurs got to win them because once this 9-game homestand is over, it's against some of the top teams, the Nuggets back-to-back. You got Shannon's Mavericks. They're going to be right up there once this 9-game homestand is over. So you got the Blazers and the Raptors. And the Suns. I mean, that's how tough it begins once this 9-game homestand is over, Chris.
Yeah, if you just look at the Phoenix Suns record, the Phoenix Suns are on fire this year. I think their record now is even better than the Lakers and the Clippers.
Can you believe we're saying that?
Go ahead. I know.
About the Suns.
Yeah, just a couple of years ago, they were bottom dwellers. And even last year, they had to struggle. They had to win that little play-in 9-8 thing to get into the playoffs last year.
I think they were undefeated in the bubble.
They turned it on, yeah.
Yeah, undefeated in the bubble. They were the team that everybody wanted the NBA to give them a pass and get them into the playoffs because they were that good. And you didn't think that momentum would carry over, and it has. Devin Booker, Ayton's playing well. Monty Williams really has them playing on par with the big boys. And so the Spurs, they got to clean up their act. I mean, there's a reason why it's called home cooking. They're not taking advantage of it.
Yeah, and you mentioned Monty Williams, who has ties to Pop and the Spurs organization, and he went through such a personal tragedy when he lost his wife in that car accident in Oklahoma City. I love seeing Monty Williams, being successful there in Phoenix. That's a cool thing. He's a fine man. I'm happy to see that happening. Jeff Garcia, a great follow on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. There you can get links to all of his coverage for News 4 San Antonio, for Fox 29, and the outstanding podcast, the Locked on Spurs podcast. Jeff Garcia, you rock, brother. Enjoy the game tonight. Hopefully the Spurs get the win.
Absolutely. You have a good day, Chris and Sweeney.
All right. Thanks so much. Coming up, Shannon's salty shakedown. So he called you Sweeney like 7 times, and he called you Shannon once. Never did he call you salty.
That's okay. I'm good with all 3. They're all my names.
Call me Sweeney. Call me salty. Call me Shannon. Just be sure you call me.
Sweeney.
There you go.
What are you doing?
Quick break. Speaking of salty, the Salty Shakedown is moments away, along with this day in sports history and sports birthdays. Coming up at 8:06, Tanner Carlson, the Tan Man, going to join us, talk a little Cowboys, talk a little NCAA tournament, and more. Dave Ayler, your soundscape stylist. We are with you till 9. Thanks for hanging out with us. You're listening to the Chris Duel Show. All right. I think I'm back to editing. Frank Valdez, welcome in. Anthony Huerta, good point. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I don't think the Clippers are going to make a big move, but you never know. Let's see. Okay, now I'm back to this. I'm going to open up another file. Open. And I am looking for that. All righty. Let's see. That is 108. That is too long. There must be something going on there.
Got chronic joint pain, not having success with steroids, but trying to avoid surgery? Well, thankfully, there's a better way, and it's now available in our area from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics, now here in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. Chris Duel here on talking about new therapies, advanced all-natural regenerative cell treatments that not only give you relief, but speed up the process of healing and repair. Popular in Europe for years, now they're here. If you've got pain in your knees, shoulder, lower back, hips, or pain from arthritis, or even pain from an old injury, you need to learn more about these potent new regenerative solutions. Call now for a free consultation. QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318. These remarkable new treatments increase mobility, decrease pain, and restore tissue. They actually allow your body to heal itself. Call now and learn more about these exciting new treatments for chronic pain. Regenerative medicine is here. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318.
I'm going to get rid of that one. And now I need a chunk that goes out. 104, that's a possibility. Shoot. All right.
chronic joint pain, not having success with steroids, but trying to avoid surgery? Well, thankfully, there's a better way. Got chronic joint pain, not having success with steroids, but trying to avoid surgery? Well, thankfully, there's a better way, and it's now available in our area from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics, now here in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. Chris Duel here. I'm talking about new therapies, advanced all-natural regenerative cell treatments that not only give you relief, but speed up the process of healing and repair. Popular in Europe for years, now they're here. If you've got pain in your knees, shoulder, lower back, hips, or pain from arthritis, or even pain from an old injury, you need to learn more about these potent new regenerative solutions. Call now for a free consultation. QC Kinetics 210-571-0318. These remarkable new treatments increase mobility, decrease pain, and restore tissue. They actually allow your body to heal itself. Call now and learn more about these exciting new treatments for chronic pain. Regenerative medicine is here. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318.
All right.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain, pain associated with arthritis, or even an old injury? Well, listen carefully, because there are new breakthrough treatments now available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative cell therapies for medical professionals at QC Kinetics in Hollywood Park and
Good morning, Beth Settle. Christopher Summers, Frank Valdez. Chris Duel Show, along with Shannon Salty Sweeney on a thirsty Thursday. Shannon, what are you thirsty for on a thirsty Thursday?
A margarita. Always a margarita, but my friend told me we're getting margaritas this week, and I texted her yesterday asking her when, because it was already Wednesday, and I've yet to hear back.
Well, and you texted her saying when, and she didn't text you back?
What's happening? She specifically told me not Monday, not Tuesday. So obviously the first day available, I said, is it today? So it was not yesterday. Perhaps this evening, maybe even tomorrow.
Any sense on where you might procure these margaritas?
I mean, we're kind of regulars at Gloria's in the Domain.
Sweet.
Pretty strong margs over there, but she requested Chewy's this week, which I'm fine with. Chewy's obviously an Austin staple.
Yes.
Haven't been in a minute. I live pretty close by, so sounds good to me.
And at Chewy's, you get the bonus of the Fresca salsa with crack in it.
See, the creamy jalapeno is, I don't need the salsa at that point.
But see, you can do both. You can get creamy jalapeno and the Fresca salsa, and
that
just
much tomato is straight heartburn for
oh,
someone like
I may try snorting the Fresca. It's so good, and I think, you know, and I don't advocate drug use, but I understand, because of the Chewy's Fresca salsa, I am jonesing for Chewy's Fresca salsa. So I think I understand heroin addiction because of the Fresca, because I just can't stop. I just can't stop. I just got to get more. And I feel good while I'm doing it and after I do it.
How many times would you say you do it a week?
I haven't, in the pandemic, I haven't been in the longest. And I wonder now, see, they used to have at Chewy's that go serve yourself, because there'd be a long wait.
they do that anymore.
Oh yeah, I know. So now I got to ask.
I think I've been during happy hour though during the pandemic. I think they'll just bring it to you if it is between those happy hour hours.
See, but I want so much that the server is gonna like say, sir, we've given you like 7
Like a bucket.
little bowls, please.
Yeah, those bowls aren't big enough, are they?
No, man. I go through that in about 6 chips. Dave Ayler, have you had the fresca salsa or the creamy jalapeno at Chewy's?
I don't think so.
Get out of here, sir.
Yeah, first you're a
This is your
Steelers
second
fan.
offense of the day. It's only 7:30.
So I've always been a La Fogata guy.
A what?
La Fogata here in the.
It's a cool
It's a great atmosphere.
indoor, outdoor, great patio at La Fogata.
They have great margaritas there too.
Oh, yes, they do. See, La Fogata used to be by the old location of the radio station, Shannon. So for Dave could get in his car and be at La Fogata in like 3 minutes.
Okay, so it's the old In and Out, whereas now you're across from In and Out.
Yes, except La Fogata is a lot better than In and Out.
Well, because they've got alcohol.
Someone's asking about Baby A's in Austin about their special purple margaritas. I think people only go for the purple margaritas and nothing else, Jason, because Baby A's does not have a great rep around town.
Ooh, really? Why don't they have a great rep?
The food.
Ah, okay.
I probably myself haven't been there in 20 years.
I got a feeling Baby A's will not be a sponsor of the show.
Sorry.
Got to tell it like it is.
If you got new management, let me know. I'll
Yeah.
come try it out. But
No, if Baby A's sucks, we need to say it because that way when we do stand up for like Chewy's or a really good restaurant, then you know we're telling the truth.
Right. And
Come
with
on, Baby A's.
So many options in town. There's No,
Get your act together, Baby A's. All right. In a moment, the salty shakedown. But first, this day in sports history. Okay, A, it's kind of a light day in sports history. B, there was a Spurs game last night, so I was compiling this at like midnight, and I didn't see. I go to these sites that list all this stuff, and everything that I saw is like, that's not that big a
Do you
deal.
not have these written down so you can just go back to them every year?
I don't. That would be wise. That would be would be efficient of me. But no. Yeah, and I do. Sometimes I go through like old papers and I go, wow, I got April 3rd in sport. If I would just save that until this April, then I wouldn't have to do the research. And nope, I'm stupid. Thank you. So I've only got 2. Number 1. In 1971, this day in 1971, the Boston Patriots became the New England Patriots. And I do know this, later that year in 1971, they would open Texas Stadium against the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys' first ever opponent in Texas Stadium was against the New England Patriots. Cowboys blew them out. Roger had a big day, and in the luxury suite with owner Clint Murchison was former President Lyndon Baines Johnson, LBJ, and Lady Bird, who's was a big Austin person. They were in attendance that day. So there's that. All right. Finally, this day in 1995, boxer Mike Tyson was released from jail after serving 3 years in prison. And you know who that made me think of when I saw that, Shannon?
Who?
Athlete serving time in prison.
OJ?
Who was on top of the world. Well,
a lot of things remind you of OJ, don't they?
I thought of OJ, but I thought of Deshaun Watson. Are we ever going to say, hey, on this day, Deshaun Watson was, granted, there's no criminal charges yet, but my God, if any of this is true, I just wonder if, like OJ and like Mike Tyson and like Greg Hardy, if Deshaun Watson is going to be yet the latest in a litany of athletes who we thought was a better human being than he actually was. And if this is not true, then this is awful. If he's being slimed falsely, then that's awful. But my God, what are we up to? 16 women? 19 women?
Too many.
He could almost form his own football team.
Oh, goodness.
If he had a 45-woman roster, he could almost,
Oh, my goodness.
I'm just saying. All right. That's it this day in sports history. Now time for sports birthdays. I only have 3, but one of them I really like a lot. I like them all, but there's one. Born on this day in 1966, pitcher Tom Glavine won the Cy Young in 1991 with the Atlanta Braves. Tom Glavine, born in Concord, Massachusetts, on this day in 1966. Born on this day in 1971, the same day that the Boston Patriots changed their name to the New England Patriots. A baby was born in Lubbock, Texas. She was a girl. Her name, Cheryl Swoops, became an incredible basketball player. Team USA, WNBA, won the Olympic gold in 1996, played for the Houston Comets. Happy birthday, Cheryl Swoops. But my favorite, born on this day in 1965, the little general, Avery Johnson, one-time coach of Shannon's Dallas Mavericks, but will forever be remembered in my heart as the man who hit the baseline jumper at Madison Square Garden on the night of June 25th, 1999. Dave Ayler played 1999 by Prince. It was Avery Johnson hitting the game-winning shot, give the assist to Sean Elliott on a pass, who found him wide open. And Shannon, what was cool about that shot by Avery Johnson to give the Spurs their first ever title, other teams used to leave him open from distance because the rap on him, he couldn't hit an outside jumper. It was like, yeah, leave Avery alone. He can't shoot. He can't hit an outside jumper. Boom. Avery gets the game winner to give the Spurs their first ever championship. Happy birthday, Avery Johnson.
The shot of his lifetime, I'm sure.
God, yes. And I heard Avery was doing color on some NCAA tournament games and that people were loving him.
That's
so
interesting. I wonder if he's called any Alabama games.
That's a great. Can you imagine he was there less than a year ago and they're going deep? I don't fully know why Alabama fired him. Do you?
I don't know. They beat Texas.
I'll have to look that up.
But a lot of people beat Texas.
All right. Happy birthday, Avery Johnson. And now here it is. You know you want it. It is the Salty Shakedown.
All right, we've been talking a lot about March Madness and the inequalities between the women and men's tournament. Well, yesterday was Equal Pay Day, and Megan Rapinoe, superstar athlete and person, was at the nation's capital to speak on disparities between men's and women's sports, specifically when it comes to pay. Here's a little clip of that. She went on to say, you can't outperform inequality. A great person Megan Rapinoe is, and a great force for this women's movement, specifically with equal pay and equal pay in sports. The women, as she mentioned, 4-time World Cup champions, 4-time Olympic gold champions, while the men, well, they lost to Mexico last night. If you have ever looked at the pay discrepancy between the men's and women's national team, mostly in the U.S., because as clearly, obviously, in the rest of the world, the women, some teams aren't even full-time players. I mean, they come to these tournaments after taking leave from their regular full-time jobs so they can play in those giant world class tournaments like the FIFA World Cup, and part of that is the FIFA organization's fault. But in the U.S., for all the championships and all the fans and all the hype the women have, they don't see that return in their bank accounts. Chris, your thoughts on Megan, her pink hair, which has become a bit of a staple for her, and the women's national team versus the men who, as I said last night, lost to Mexico.
I love Megan Rapinoe. She is fearless. She is outspoken. She's an amazing athlete. She's a truth teller. And in a week or in a couple of weeks that, I mean, we've had all these reporting on the inequities for the women in the women's NCAA tournament. Boom, here's just another layer to that story, which is prevalent across all sports and across life in America, and certainly around the world, where a lot of places women are more oppressed than they are in the United States. So use your platform for good, use your platform to be a truth teller, and that's what Megan Rapinoe does.
If you've never gotten to witness the U.S. women's national team in person, I highly suggest it. They come through San Antonio quite often. That's where I saw them play for the first time. It was incredible. Kobe Bryant was actually there because the Lakers were in town to play the Spurs the next day, so it was a lot of fun. That was, of course, after their 2015 World Cup. They went on their little tour to celebrate and did a couple matches around the U.S. All right, we talked a little bit of Deshaun Watson and the ongoing issues that he is facing, so I wanted to bring some light into the world, and Mr. Justin Herron, who is a guard for the New England Patriots, is being called a hero in Arizona because he and his friend, who were at a public park in the middle of the day celebrating his friend's daughter's birthday, witnessed and stopped a crime. A 30-year-old man went over, knocked down a 71-year-old retired teacher, and attempted to sexually assault her. Justin Herron came to the rescue. He helped console the lady while his friend held the the oppressor in place while the police arrived. They're both awarded with astounding citizen awards by the Temp Police there in Arizona. One thing, in the middle of the day, I can't believe something like that's happening. Another thing, this guy's at his daughter's birthday party, and then right next to him, they've got this going on. But we need more people like him who step in when they see something wrong and do something about it, not the people who hold out their phones and take video and say, look what happened, look how wrong this is. Because he probably could have very easily done that, but instead he helped this woman out. I mean, come on, 30 years old versus 71. He's always going to win that fight. So good on him. I don't know how familiar you are with Justin Herron. I think this is the first I'd ever heard of him, but fantastic for his name to be in the news for this reason.
Totally agree. I will now pay more attention to Justin Herron, and just what a horrible story. And again, it reminds me that there are just such sick, defective, awful people on this earth with us. You know, I think of this guy who shot up the grocery store in Boulder most recently, and then this story. My God, you know, you live a good life, you're a good human being, and sometimes you cross the path of a really evil person. So amen, Justin Herron, for being in the right place at the right time to make a difference.
And finally, ref Tim Heel, formerly an NHL ref, has been banned from the league after getting caught in a hot mic incident where he admitted during a Nashville and Detroit game, he said, I wanted to get expletive foul called on the Nashville Predators. Obviously, you can't do that. That's a little bit of tampering. That's, completely, your job is to call fouls, not make up fouls, and ruin the game's integrity. So the NHL released a statement basically talking about the integrity of the game, that is why he's been released. Now, this guy was going to retire anyway. He's 53 years old, so his exit came early. He's reffed in over 1,300 games during his career, including finals and the Olympics in Sochi. When you think of this one quote-unquote mistake because his mic was on and all the games he's reffed, how many has he single-handedly played a role in possibly even an outcome of the game? Predators, by the way, went on to win that game, I believe, 2-0. So that foul didn't necessarily hurt them in that regard. But I mean, first of all, being a ref, I know you get hated on so much. I mean, they're like the first people you blame when your team loses. And sometimes they deserve it because sometimes they make poor calls. But doing something like this is absolutely mind-blowing, especially at that level. And for a guy who's been to the tippy top, right? The finals and the Olympics. He also apparently in 2015 had an incident where he was at a bar drinking with a reporter prior to reffing a game, and he was then pulled from that game So not a great track record, but like I said, 1,300 games in his career. Has now exited the league early after this incident. Chris, what were your thoughts when you first heard this story?
I think refs in hockey and basketball and in football, I think they do makeup calls. I think when they realized, okay, I missed that one, I'm gonna do. I mean, and even listening to NBA games or watching NBA games, you'll see them miss a call, and you'll see like, and there was a
Tic-tacky fouls.
last night and again I was listening to Bill's call, but Kawhi Leonard apparently carried the ball. It was a double dribble, and Pop freaked out, and it was not called.
Mhm.
And then on the next possession, Kawhi was called for an offensive foul. I didn't. Again, I was listening. I didn't see it. Maybe it wasn't a makeup call, but as soon as I heard Bill call it, I go, okay, makeup call. That ref realizes he screwed up, so he did the makeup call. I think makeup calls happen. I think refs do them, but you can't say you do,
Right.
because then you've got to go. Because then
Smart enough.
then the league has to blow you out. So
Unbelievable. Sucks to suck, buddy. Tim Peel no longer. God, he was gonna retire too. That's the one. That's the kicker. All these games you made it this far,
oh, yeah.
and then you slip like that. Hot mics, man. Always, if you're near a microphone, always act like it's on.
Well, and now not only a microphone, but all of us, you have to assume somebody's got a camera phone watching you.
Mhm.
Whatever. And in public, you got to assume there's a security camera always
Oh,
watching you wherever you go. Even at a stoplight, look up. There are cameras looking at you always.
And cameras looking at us on our Facebook.
Exactly. Looking
and
at us right
YouTube
now.
Live feed. That does
Woo.
it for the Salty Shakedown today. Tanner Carlson's in next, correct?
Yes, another outstanding salty shakedown. Cowboys, we found out someone they won't bring back. We'll talk to Tanner about that. It's a little questionable because I thought he was kind of a bright spot last year, but we shall discuss that. We'll talk We'll talk some Deshaun Watson with Tanner. He's a Mavericks fan like Shannon. Maybe they'll celebrate, do a little kumbaya.
Yeah, we'll do a screen 5 over the video.
Screen 5, maybe sing a Luka Doncic song. I don't know. Does Luka have a nickname?
No, because I think his name alone, Luca.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to. All right. Luka should wear puka shells. I'm just saying. Maybe. Could be a thing. Quick break, sports update, and more. You're listening to The Chris Duel Show. All right. Now, I got to finish editing a commercial, which is always fun. All right. Back to this. I know this is just riveting video, me editing a commercial down to 60 seconds, it's currently at 1 minute, 2 seconds, and it's got to be 60. So I cut out breaths. I look at the waveform and I cut out breaths until I get it down to 60 seconds. And then you hear the commercial, you go, my God, does that guy even breathe? He just talks and talks and talks and doesn't even breathe. What is wrong with him? Is it the caffeine? What's his deal? It is amazing that, like in a 60-second commercial, you can go for like 64 seconds and you get more information in that way, and then you come in and you edit out the breaths. So there's like 4 seconds of taking breaths, which is a little more than I thought there was. And I'm almost there. And there we have it. Let me see how that sounds.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain, pain associated with arthritis, or even an old injury? Well, listen carefully because there are new breakthrough treatments.
Whoops.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain, pain associated with arthritis? arthritis, or even an old injury? Well, listen carefully, because there are new breakthrough treatments now available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative cell therapies from medical professionals at QC Kinetics in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. Chris Duel here. These revolutionary treatments not only alleviate your pain, they speed up the healing process. We're talking regenerative cell and platelet-rich plasma therapies. All new solutions that really work. If you've got pain in your knees or your shoulders, hips, lower back, you may be able to avoid invasive surgery with these proven non-surgical options with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. Call now to schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318, 210-571-0318. If you got chronic pain, if you want to avoid surgery and steroids, call QC Kinetics in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. Call now, 210-571-0318, 571-0318.
All right. Let's see. So I am doing. There he is. What's happening? Let me move my bag out of your way. I was thinking we talk Cowboys, Alden Smith,
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson. Anything else on your mind?
Oh, just maybe some draft scenarios.
Absolutely. That's right in your wheelhouse.
Just whatever happens at 10, the possibilities of what could happen there
Okay.
in terms of trade down stuff and.
Let's see here. Yeah.
But Thursdays are always typically fairly busy for me anyway, because our overnight guy Nick, he's not in on Thursdays, and he's the one that typically goes through the COVID briefings and gets audio from the mayor and stuff like that.
Okay.
On Thursday mornings, I have to do that since he's not in, and so that always puts me behind a little. Or it feels like I'm behind anyway, even though I'm really not. I'm saving up for a new phone. I've got the iPhone 7, and it's just giving up
I
on me
think
now.
this is still a 7. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah. Is your my battery is
it
yeah.
sucks. It sucks. The whole phone is starting to just poop out on me. I mean, the whole phone just is complete dog crap now. Like yesterday, I had to restart my phone 3 times just to get my volume button to work.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, so I am now in money saving mode to get me a new phone, and I've been up for an upgrade for like 3 years now, so I'm way past due.
Good.
But it's just.
It is so amazing. I truly believe it's planned obsolescence. And I think when you do these updates, it's like, oh, time for an iOS update.
Yeah.
I think they're engineering these things to crap out, so you need to buy another one.
100% agree. Yeah, not a doubt in my mind.
Okay, now let me see this. I gotta say, I had all these spots I had to record, so I was going to do it last night during the Spurs game, and I recorded them in here, but when I tried to edit them in that studio, it was slow and at a different bit rate, and Bartlett and I tried to fix it, and we couldn't. So I came in early, 30 minutes early this morning, thinking, all right, I can bang it out in 30 minutes, and everything always takes longer than you think.
Yeah. And it's kind of like one of those things when you're in a hurry to get somewhere.
Yeah.
You always happen to run into traffic, or you hit every single red light. You know, that just happens. It just happens that way. Oh man.
So do you have the link?
I'm all ready to go. I'm all
Oh,
hooked
cool.
up.
Super.
I'm in the thing. But so we've been on a health kit.
Nice.
Yeah.
I need to get on one.
It's way past due.
Yeah.
And so been working out a little bit, you know, not intense workout. She's pregnant and all, so we just, you know, I've been trying to run, been starting running.
Yeah.
I know I can at least do cardio for the very bare minimum, but just eating healthier.
Very smart.
But yeah, figured if I have a kid on the way, diabetes probably isn't.
And you shaved.
Yeah, trimmed it up a little bit. Yeah, I have a haircut today. Oh my, way past due on a haircut. So figured it's starting to get pool season. I gotta get more presentable if I'm gonna go out, lay by the pool or something.
John Arne Paulson, thanks for joining us from Norway.
Always wanted to go in that area. Ancestors are from Sweden.
Oh, wow.
So I've always wanted to visit the Norway, Sweden
Absolutely.
parts of Europe.
On my mother's side, my ancestors are from Croatia. In fact, my grandfather's name was Luka.
Oh, nice.
Just like Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is
Shamanchik. What is it?
Shamanich, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Shamanich. According to Bill Schoening.
Okay.
Shamanich.
It's Shamanich. Okay.
But so growing up, it's like, all right, my mother was Croatian and my father's side of the family was Hungarian. I was told that all my life. Did the 23andMe test.
Oh no.
I was like 40% Croatian, but I was also like 40% Polish.
Okay.
And no Hungarian. So somebody on my father's side was,
yeah.
But I
think they're in the vicinity, right? They're kind of all kind of right there.
Somebody from Poland went to Hungary or something. But I am 0.5% Neanderthal. I didn't even.
That?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It actually says that.
It says you are 0.5% Neanderthal.
I think that's just a little. That's like a jab.
Yeah.
That's just a cheap shot.
So now I'm offended by the Geico caveman commercials. Hey man, those are my people.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden said a Neanderthal thing, the Neanderthal thinking the other day. I'm like, hey,
wait a second.
Come on, man.
Yeah. That's too funny.
All right, let's see. So you are in here. So I am going to. Oh, you're not on board yet. So once that happens, I'm going to mute my mic. I always forget to turn your mic on. You would think I'd learn that.
Yeah.
But no.
I'm not that important.
Jason Paniagua says the Geico caveman looks like Dirk. I don't know about that. If he was blonde, maybe.
Different looks in his career.
True. He changed it up.
Monkey
Man. Okay, I'm going to mute my. Oh, I am muted. Perfect.
All right.
We blast into the 8 o'clock hour. Thank you for blasting into it with us. It's the Chris Duel Show, along with Shannon Salty Sweeney, Dave Ayler, your soundscape stylist, on loan from the 50,000-watt blowtorch and home of the San Antonio Spurs, 1200 WOAI. We are on AM 1300, The Zone in Austin, Ticket 760 in San Antonio. And a quick shout out as we stream live video on the Facebook pages of Ticket 760 and AM 1300 The Zone. I see Taro Kotani, the greatest international Spurs fan, joins us from Tokyo this morning. It's probably nighttime in Tokyo, but Taro, everybody else on Facebook. John Arne Paulson joining us from Norway, which is beautiful. We are international and a very special guest. We bring him in as often as we can, and he is listed on Facebook Live as the Monkey Man Tanner Carlson. Why Monkey Man? Where did that come from?
Tan Man, the Monkey Man. I just that was what my parents always called me whenever I was a kid because I was climbing on every single thing I could find.
It is catchy.
I think my first probably 8 birthdays were at a rock climbing like facility, like one of those indoor rock climbing places. That was my go-to place every single year. So and I would always try to race all my friends to the top, and I would typically win. So I was a climber. And if my grandparents were looking for me after school, because they would take me home after school and take me to their house, if they couldn't find me when my parents were there, I was typically in a tree or something, or like just on top of something. So, and I think that's short man syndrome. I think I was always the smallest in my class.
Yeah.
And so I think I just wanted to feel what it was like to actually be tall for once.
Did you ever break anything from doing
No,
that?
I have never broken a bone in my entire life.
Nor have I.
I've never been in a cast or any type
That's
of
incredible.
surgery or anything. Yeah.
Very cool. Now, first of all, I will allow
I drink
you.
a lot of milk.
Yeah, well, it's good. Yeah, it's good for the bones.
Great
Calcium.
calcium.
You and Shannon, go ahead and enjoy yourselves overnight. Spurs lose, Mavericks win. So the Mavericks leapfrog the Spurs into 7th place in the Western Conference.
And hook 'em horns.
Watch that one.
Yeah, shout out to the women.
Yes.
In San Antonio, right here, advance to the Sweet 16. Hook 'em. Well done.
Who did, ironically, what the men should have done, advance to play UCLA.
Play UCLA to
and beat-
advance. Right. Yeah. That's exactly how it should have played out, but the women got it done. They're doing what the men can't do. So shout out.
Just more
shout
ammo
out.
to get rid of Shaka.
Exactly.
Well,
That's all it is.
I was
That's all
going to
it
say
is.
Year.
Yeah. Does it subtly or not so subtly affect Shaka Smart if they go on and win the whole thing? Is Chris Del Conte going to look at Shaka and go, hello?
Yeah. I think it's 2 different programs.
Yeah.
I don't think they go that deep into it. I don't think they go that deep into the rabbit hole, but it is something. I mean, their paths were actually somewhat similar, except for Texas, the women were actually a lower seed than UCLA, but Texas would have then played UCLA on the men's side to advance to the tournament as a higher seed. So, it's just kind of a similar track as they would have taken. So that's the only similarities. But no, I don't think they go that deep into it. It's like, well, if the girls can do it, why can't you do it? I don't think they go that far.
Now, we've talked about this week, Shannon and I, the reasons we love the men's NCAA tournament. Underdog, Cinderella, anything can happen. Storylines, a great story about a kid who's overcome adversity, or somebody does an amazing thing, or a coach. Every one of those reasons why we love, and brackets, every one of the reasons we love the men's tournament, that's going on in the women's tournament.
Right.
Yet the women's tournament doesn't get nearly the run or the love. Clearly, you bring it up, so clearly you're watching and you're into it. Why do you think the women's tournament doesn't have as much? Now, I understand it may not be equal to the men on the national radar, but I think it needs to be higher, or should be higher.
Well, and I filled out a women's bracket this year for the first time, and I gotta pat myself on the back. I've got Sweet 16 right. I have all of my elite still in the
Very
tournament.
nice.
So
Very good.
So, and I'm not gonna say that I was like studying or anything, or like I wasn't watching film and like, ooh, yeah, I wasn't like that detailed into it. I kind of just got lucky. But no, you're right. You're right. Definitely. And I don't mean to bash the WNBA, but women's college ball to me is so much better than the WNBA. You're not getting that. It's just a different atmosphere. It's still at the level in terms of intensity and excitement. I mean, if anybody watched Texas A&M game last night, they got one of the best college basketball games you're going to see, regardless men or women. So it's a lot of fun. And in terms of local, you're right. It should get more recognition. It should get more viewership and whatnot. But for some reason, it just doesn't. I don't know what the reason is.
All right, we lost you on the video feed for some reason.
I'm gonna get it back up.
So, all right, if you need a power cable,
I was talking. No, I'm fully charged, but I was talking to you at the break.
Yeah.
Of how bad my phone is. It literally will just shut off. It just turns off. So
and real quickly, and we will get into the Cowboys after this. You have an iPhone 7. I have an iPhone 7.
I'm way out of date.
And lately, mine has been just shutting off for no reason whenever it feels like it. And the biggest thing now, my battery is absolute crap. I'll be at 100% at the beginning of the show, and by the end of the show, I'm at 41.
41, and I'm not. I'm getting. I swear to God, I know Steve Jobs roll over in your grave. There is planned unless there's engineering. Every time you do an iOS upgrade or download, they're like saying, all right, you got an iPhone 7. We want you to buy another one. So we're going to screw with your iPhone.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Like I had to turn my phone off 3 different times yesterday just to get my volume button working. And I don't even know how that like breaks or doesn't end up working. And then after the third time's the charm, I guess. I've got videos and volume and everything's working perfectly fine again. So
Shannon, you're an iPhone user. Do you agree that there's a vast conspiracy to make us buy
there was
new
a
phones
lawsuit,
every 2
I think,
years?
where so now if your battery drops below a certain percentage because it's older, I think they'll replace it for you.
Ooh, that's
I'm just gonna. Unfortunately, I'm just gonna get a new
because
phone.
also the more updates an older phone takes, the more storage it takes up on that older phone, and that just makes it slower too.
I also noticed that my phone is just deleting pictures. Half of my wedding photos on my phone are just gone.
You didn't want those, did you?
Do what? No, I don't really.
My wedding.
I don't really need them.
You have your memories.
Not that important. But yeah, like half the photos, they're just gone. Yeah. Now I have them on social media, and we've got the little flash drive that has all of them on there. So it's not like I can't access them, but still, it's like, you know,
if you didn't back them up, you'd be in big trouble.
Right.
All right, Cowboys. We learned yesterday that Aldon Smith will not be brought back to the Cowboys. He was one of the guys who, a few times during the season, I was like, well, at least Aldon Smith is playing big time.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that. What do you think's going on?
I'm curious to see what his market value is in the league. Be that he's expensive now that he's kind of shown some promise. He's still a very old player. He still has youth to
31.
Yeah. So I mean, and it's not necessarily old. But I'm curious to see what the market is there, and if the other teams have expressed interest. Maybe he was waiting to match that, and the Cowboys are like, sorry, you're too expensive now. That's my take on it. That's the only thing I can think of. Because if you were going to get the guy for cheap and get a discount on him, kind of like you had last year, similar deal as you had last year, why wouldn't you bring him back? The reason not to bring him in for a second year, unless his market values
there's something going on that you know about.
Which is hard to believe these days.
Public doesn't know.
Right. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you would think that it would come. It would be out as quickly as possible, especially with a guy like Aldon Smith.
Awful defense. And I've got to be with you, Tanner. I think it's got to be down to money for this one, because there's no reason you get rid of one of your best defensive players who produced for you last year, and imagine what he could do with just a better team around him.
Right.
Yes.
Was and is
getting the recognition for giving a guy a second chance, and being a guy who was like, I opened the door for this guy to have a second chance. We've seen it with guys like T. Johnson, Pat Lee's other Greg Hardy. Yeah. Even Randy Gregory has had his fair share of issues. He's never had to bring him back on to the football, back onto the team. He's always been on the team, but he has given him chance after chance after chance, because Jerry likes the vision of, hey, I give these guys second chances, and now I've got them at a discount. They're playing great football for me. So I think in terms of everything, Aldon Smith is the perfect football player to be on a Jerry Jones team, other than now.
Speaking of the Cowboys, Tanner Carlson, you're a huge draft analyst. You go through scenarios. You pay more attention to the draft than probably anyone I personally know. I know Mel Kiper on TV, but I don't know him personally. But yeah, see, you
Much
kind of
better
already
hair.
met
Cool.
this radio show.
I'll take it.
And
I'll take
Oh, no, I almost didn't
and he is
Cute.
shaved. Do you see how clean shaved?
18-year-old.
And you are. When you lose the
Yeah,
beard,
yeah.
you lose like about 5, 6, 7 years.
Wife was actually kind of disgusted. She was like, you may never actually have to shave again. I'm just letting you know. It was like, what, you don't like feeling like you're a minor? Is that weird to you? Yeah. So,
Right. Well, someday, because I was that way. I always looked younger than I was.
right.
And then once you get older, you go, man, I wish I was younger.
I wish I looked like I was teen again. Yeah. I might actually get carded next time I go to a bar if I keep this.
Well,
Yeah.
I was like 10 years ago, maybe 15. I was carded at a Target.
Nice.
I was buying beer at a Target, and she carded me. I go, oh, that is so cool. I haven't been Target, and then she goes, sir,
It's store
we
policy.
carded you. If I had been a 97-year-old man, they would have carded.
Yeah.
Big deal. All right, so the draft.
Yeah.
You got your favorites. You got all kinds of scenarios. You got where the Cowboys go number 10, and what
window dressing their draft board. I'm a firm believer of best player available. Now, I doubt it, but say he does. Say there's a Trey Lance that falls to 10, and there's teams like Washington, not that you're going to probably trade with Washington, but teams like a New England team, New Orleans, or even Tampa Bay, who might need a guy to groom for the future. Do you trade back? You know, I know it's best player available, and you typically want to take that best player. But what if that guy doesn't fit with what you're building with your team? I think a trade back would be a perfect scenario, especially amount of offensive talent at the top of this draft board. I mean, there might be 10 guys. The top 10 picks might all be offense. I mean, that is a really good possibility with the Alabama kid, the 2 Alabama wide receivers, the Alabama quarterback with Mac Jones, and then you've got 4 other quarterbacks that are probably going to be going in the top 10, plus offensive. Kyle Pitts. Yeah.
Kyle
Yeah.
Pitts, they're saying is the next draft.
So right there, you've got 10 guys right there. Now, if Kyle Pitts, he's a tight end, say he falls to 10.
Oh my
God. What do you do?
Grab him.
You grab him.
Yes.
He's not a need. You've got so you're away.
Blake Jarwin is not exactly Kellen Winslow.
No.
So I think.
What
Kyle
about
Pitts,
Schultz? Schultz was coming on at the end of the year.
He's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would add to the offense and neglect the defense that you need.
Because I'm hearing that Kyle Pitts is a transcendent,
right?
Travis Kelce-esque type.
And he's not a hand in the dirt tight end. He's a guy you line up also in the slot and can run routes past linebacker. I mean, he's a wide receiver. He's a giant wide receiver playing tight end.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah.
But
that illustrates what you were getting at.
Right.
Best player available.
Do you take just simply the best player available, or do you trade back, maybe grab a need? The thing is, if you try to decorate your window, your fall to 10, I think you almost have to be taking phone calls at that point and trade back and get a defense. I still think you have to go defense. I just think that you grab your defensive guy later in the first round or in the second round.
At this moment on March 25th, who do you think the Cowboys are going to pick at 10, and who do you want the Cowboys to pick at 10? Are they the same guy?
You know, I think that they will. I think they will get Patrick Surtain out of Alabama, the corner. He had a really good pro day. All his numbers just came back, and he flashed and was really impressive. We had McCarthy, Dan Quinn, and I believe our director of player personnel, Will McClay, or one of the scouting guys. One of the head scouting guys. We're all three there.
Oh, good.
Typically, when you have three guys,
Yeah.
and I know it's Alabama Pro Day, so they're probably looking at more than just him. But yeah, it's that to me, that's been the most the Cowboys have represented at any pro day up to this point. So that's probably the guy that they're really looking at. The guy I personally really like, I actually have him graded higher than Patrick Surtain, is J.C. Horn. And he actually just flashed at his pro day yesterday. He had his pro day, and he's probably now climbing draft boards. He's not a trade back and wait. He's probably a trade up and go get.
Where'd he go to college? J.C. Horn,
South Carolina.
Okay,
South Carolina, and he's kind of a, so where Patrick Surtain is more technically sound, he's going to be the guy who is. He's not going to let his bad technique beat him. He's going to be with the guy basically every single time. J.C. Horn is the aggressor. He's the guy get in your face, press up against you kind of guy. We might get beat here and there, but I would take an aggressive guy for this defense for what we are asking for. I'm tired of guys that are just kind of, they're so technically sound, but they don't make any plays for you.
So Dak comes back this season. Let's assume the offensive line can be relatively healthy. You got all kinds of other, skill players at wide receiver, tight end. I think the offense is going to be fine, if not great. Zeke hopefully won't be low-key faded, bro, for much of the season.
Right.
Hopefully Zeke is engaged and playing well. Patrick Surtain, J.C. Horn, some free agent acquisitions. It was a historically bad defense a year ago. New defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn. How good, glass half full, how good can this Cowboys team be? I look at the NFC East. I think Giants are going to be on the rise, but I think it's a very winnable division.
Of course.
But how good, let's say the Cowboys win the NFC East, how deep can they go in the playoffs?
When you take yourself out of the NFC East and you look at every other division, how do you typically determine that division winner? Whoever has the best quarterback. Is it Patrick Mahomes? Is it Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Is it Russell Wilson? Is it Tom Brady? You typically go based on the best teams have the best quarterback. And if Dak Prescott is healthy, this team should win the NFC East every single year he is at quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. No exceptions. And so that's the floor. The floor, after you sign Dak Prescott to that contract, the floor is winning the NFC East and hosting at least one home playoff game. That's the bare minimum you're allowed to do, and probably at a 9-7, 10-6 record. That's what you should be doing year in and year out, as long as Dak Prescott is your quarterback, because you paid him that quarterback. If you were going to pay him that money and you're going to go with someone else, then yeah, or even keep him on the franchise tag, then yeah, your expectations should probably be down a little bit more. But when you're paying a guy that type of money is overcome a bad defense money, overcome a couple drop passes on third down money, overcome a missed field goal money. That is what you're paying Dak Prescott to do now.
Finally, Deshaun Watson, the story gets worse just about every day.
Yeah.
Shannon and I talked yesterday. I think there's a percentage chance, and I think it's small. It's around 10, but it's growing. I think it was at 2, that if any of these allegations are true, because of the position of quarterback, face of the franchise, the guy you make the biggest monetary investment in, if this guy is, and we don't know yet,
Right.
but if this guy is a sexual predator, who the hell would ever want him to be their quarterback in the face of the franchise, no matter how talented he is? I think there's a percentage chance this dude may not play again.
There is, I think right now there's a really small percentage. But you're right. I mean, if something like this comes out and half of these are true, that would still be 8 cases that are true. Then yeah, because here's how I have to look at it too, is I have to compare other situations we've seen very similar to this, where Ray Rice was ran out of the league for punching his girlfriend, got caught on video in an elevator, and then dragging her out. So yeah.
But his skills were diminishing, whereas Greg Hardy's skills were still, it's like, ooh, he was
Right.
an all-pro recently.
And then you also got another quarterback who didn't necessarily do anything wrong when it comes to legally, but he protested, took a knee during the national anthem, has never played another snap.
He
in
was
the
run
NFL.
out of the league.
Now, however, again, skills were diminishing. He was a backup. People forget he was a backup at that time. He had
Yeah.
already gotten benched for Blaine Gabbert. So skills were diminishing. They were on the decline. So I don't want people to, jump on me about all that stuff. But there is a scenario to where Watson, he might be the first player that's actually on the come up. He's not yet entered his prime yet, and now he's facing all of these allegations. And it's going to be interesting. Like I said, you can't really comment on whether or not he did it or not because the cases
We
haven't
don't
been
know.
heard, and
Yeah.
we don't know.
And there's no criminal charges
But
at this point.
I would think this should be a worse scenario than a Ray Rice or a Colin Kaepernick scenario, where
especially the multiple
right with how many cases
possible victims,
with how many possible victims that have come out and talked about it, you would think that this would warrant him being ran out of the league and never playing again.
Gosh, it is such a mind-blowing story, and a guy who was viewed as
good guy,
a good guy,
Yeah.
a very good guy.
He's on the level of J.J. Watt in terms of community service that he does in the Houston area. And
His
how he's
first
viewed.
paycheck, he gave to the cafeteria workers at the Reliance Stadium at the time. So wow, all right. He is Tan Man, the Monkey Man. I like it. It's got a lot of rhythm to it. Tanner Carlson, a great follow on Twitter.
We might need to drop every time I come on. There's like
we got to work on it. Oh, I like it.
Something.
Something. Like throughout the whole segment.
Maybe.
We'll run a loop.
Instead
of
their
monkey sounds.
Instead of every time I make a good point, there's a ding. You can just make a monkey sound.
I love it. We'll get Dave Ayler.
Yeah, we can do that.
Start pulling those monkey drops.
Right.
Beautiful. Tanner is a great follow on Twitter at Tanner Carlson 20.
And I apologize for my phone. It conked out on me again.
Yeah,
So,
it's
sorry about
Apple.
that.
It's a great conspiracy.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs, why did you engineer the company this way?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And as soon as I get the iPhone 12, bet it never happens again.
Well, it won't happen
it will
for 3.5 years.
Another 3.5 years.
And then you'll have to get the iPhone 15.
Right.
All right. Quick break. More coming up. We're with you till 9 o'clock. Our thanks to Tanner Carlson. We will talk all things sports, including a little NCAA tournament as hey, it's Thursday. It's a big weekend in both tournaments. We'll get into that and more. She is Shannon Salty Sweeney. Dave Ayler making the show go. It's the Chris Duel Show. Louisa says, love Tanner! Exclamation point. Woo!
But she's always nice. She always says something like that.
That's very cool.
I've got a fan.
Yes.
That's better than no fans.
You build from 1 to 10 to 100.
Yeah, I've got
Yes.
a fan, so
I think you got a lot more than one.
that's more than I got at home.
Funny. Especially after the shave.
Oh yeah.
Right.
All right, man.
All right, man. Great stuff. Thank you. Let me see here. Okay. I'm going to get a water refill. Or do I want a coffee refill? I should lay off the caffeine a little bit. I'm bouncing off the walls. I'll be back. Okay, thank you. Okay. Ah. Anthony Del Toro, welcome in. Let's see here. There's that. There is. Little Cardi B in the morning. Dave Ayler, your soundscape stylist. Dave, for some reason, I'm guessing Cardi B was not your call. I could be wrong. I mean, you're very eclectic.
Well, just like the meme that I saw said that Cardi B writes music for people that shoplift at yard sales.
Oh my God. That is not nice. Shannon, what do you have to say for yourself? Now, what is the name of this Cardi B tune?
Up.
Up.
She performed it at the Grammys.
Now, is this the one that caused all the controversy?
No, that was WAP.
That was WAP.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that was with
Meg the Stallion from Houston, Texas.
Meg the Stallion.
Mm-hmm.
Is Meg the Stallion big? I mean, obviously Cardi B is big, but is the Stallion big?
Like artist wise?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She and Beyonce won a Grammy for Savage.
Wow.
Which was remixed on that version, and as well as the Tiger King version.
Okay, how come I have heard of Beyonce, obviously? How come I've heard of Cardi B, but I have not heard of Meg the Stallion?
Well, because I just came into your life, Chris.
Well, but shouldn't I? If she's already been I mean,
she really blew up last year, like during quarantine.
Okay.
Really was Savage. She had Hot Girl Summer 2 summers ago, 1 summer ago. That one didn't blow up as much, at least in my world.
Now there have been FCC complaints and even lawsuits filed by some people over the Grammy performance of WAP that you mentioned by the woman you just heard singing, Cardi B, and Meg the Stallion. Is it Meg or Megan the Stallion? Anyway,
Their name is Megan, but I think she goes
by Meg. Meg the Stallion. So apparently the choreography was viewed by some or many as pornographic. Shannon, are people do people need to get over themselves or?
I mean, come on.
But what if you got kids? What if you got a 9-year-old girl who wants to watch the Grammys?
I mean, why would your kids want to watch that anyway? It's mostly just people talking about themselves.
But it's the people they like.
They announce the performers before the show even happens, and then they announce before the performers perform. So if they say coming up, Cardi B and Meg the Stallion, and you only know that one song of theirs, chances are that's the song they're going to perform. Why don't you just change channel?
Because your 9-year-old girl wants to watch.
Well, when I was 9, I was in bed by the time the Grammys even started. So,
well, I think
that's some parenting, questionable parenting.
I think some other 9-year-olds are still awake these days.
Well,
Jason,
there's a Kids Bop version of that song. Whether it's a real Kids Bop version or not, there is a Kids Bop version, and it's very funny.
yeah, it's I see it both ways. I think some people tend to get butthurt over just about anything that's out of the norm for them. So I think, I mean, if it weren't for kids, if there's an adult that was offended by that, it's like, come on. So the only thing that I can possibly see is if someone had kids and felt, and I think with that, you can give a disclaimer. You can say, parental guidance, adult content,
Right.
pelvic thrusts. I mean, you can, I think you can tell people to watch out. So Jason Paniagua says, Meg the Stallion was born in San Antonio. I did not know that.
I believe raised in the Houston area, but yeah.
Woo! And that would, hence the Beyonce thing. She's from Houston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Woo! Woo!
Now you're connecting those dots.
I'm trying to connect the dots. So bottom line, it's a controversy that is not a controversy, and people need to get over themselves. Is that where we are on that? Yeah. All right.
No one's making you watch whatever you're watching. There's so many other channels on. Go to one of them.
Cardi B tweeting about it. Conservatives been making viral tweets comparing WAP to the banning of some Dr. Seuss books as if there's any correlation between the two. Well, I can definitely tell some of you only read Dr. Seuss books because your mind lacks comprehension. Very nice.
She's not afraid to call it like she sees it, is she?
Yeah, very, very nice. She's like the Megan Rapinoe of rap. She calls it like it is. Thank you. Tried to tie that into like Megan Rapinoe. So.
And Luisa is asking about our poll question.
Oh.
I don't know that we ever announced on the airways, but it is, as always, on our Twitter pages and 1300 The Zone and Ticket 760, asking what weekend sporting event are you most excited about? We've got match play in Austin, NCAA Men's Sweet 16, NCAA Women's Sweet 16, or other. Leading the way, Men's Sweet 16. I myself voted match play because I'm heading there today after the show. Very excited. I don't know how long I'll last because I have to wear a mask. But I'm not fighting against. I get
You have to
hot.
wear a mask in Austin outdoors at a golf event? I'm surprised Greg Abbott didn't find a way to change that.
He may not be aware, but yes.
There's going to be hell to pay when he finds out. Wow. Especially outdoors, if I can get, and I go much further than 6 feet away from people. I get 10, 20, 30 feet away from people. But I mean, I wear a mask because I'm a responsible adult and I care about other people. And I believe in medicine and science and math, but I don't enjoy wearing it. So whenever I can get away from people and like take it down to one ear and breathe better, I will do that. So it's got to be a little rough to be out the whole day having to be in a mask.
What are the masks? I see a lot of coaches wearing them. They almost look like they're like coffee filters that are perforated.
Yeah.
Those look very breathable. I need one of those.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a thing. Like it's an effective mask, but it's really perforated. It's a faux mask. So it's so that you can make people think you're wearing a regulation mask, but it's really not.
And I don't know if they are or not. They're just the way they look on TV anyway. But I'm interested in one of those. I still have the same 2 masks that I got the second they said masks are going to be required. I refuse to be like my mother who goes out and buys masks for every outfit. There's a lot of people that do that.
I've seen especially ladies do that, and I do think it's kind of cool. The mask matches and accessorizes and is in the same color scheme as the outfit you're wearing that day.
I made fun of her over the weekend, and then I just so happened to be putting on my mask that was a Texas Longhorn one while I'm wearing a Texas Longhorn jacket. And she goes, "What were you saying?" I was like, "Well, this is one of 2, and half the clothes I own are Texas, so there's that."
Well, see, and I have the Texas flag mask, which I thought was cool and very, very Texan. And until I saw Ted Cruz wearing it back from Cancun, then I thought, all right.
Inside out?
What do you mean by that?
Like flip it? What's
I guess you could.
White?
It's just white. Yeah, I guess you could. So, all right.
I signed up for the shot yesterday. I'm on the waiting list.
How did you? Okay, Well, I can't even get on a waiting list. I went to the HEB site this morning because HEB has limited number of shots. Put in your zip code and find out the HEB nearest you that has an appointment. I put in my zip code and it came up with Midland and Abilene. I can there are available appointments that I can get at an HEB in Midland or Abilene. So what clinic? Where are you on a waiting list?
Like a specific, it's just Austin Public Health, and then there's a list. Like each county has their own registrar that you can sign up for, and then it's like, where do you want to get your shot? And I just said either one. Like I don't have a preference. I just want the shot, but it will be in my county.
Good for you for doing that. But I went to the Bexar County website. It's like, oh, we have no vaccine. We're not taking appointments now. Check back again soon.
Right. Well, because Monday it opens up to everyone is eligible. And they still want to obviously prioritize those that are at higher risk. But I got on as many. I tried to get on the UT Health one, but they haven't opened theirs yet for the next wave of openings. But who knows when I'll get sent that appointment? Because like my parents are getting their second one, but it wasn't like, when do you want to get it? Where do you want to get it? It's like, here's your appointment date, here's where it is, and here's the time. So I don't know if I miss a show for a shot.
Hey, I get it. Well, you can call in from the line.
I'll be in line for 4 hours.
So yeah, on Tuesday, I took my mom for her second. She was in the Alamo Dome thing, which takes about 90 minutes. You pull in, there's a gazillion cars in the parking lot. First, they come by and see that your name's on the list and you're legit. Then you drive to another location. Then they check you out again. You fill out paperwork. Then you drive somewhere else. They give you the shot. Then you drive and you got to wait 15 minutes in case you have a reaction. So
I heard here in Austin, there are places where if you go in the evenings when the appointments are about up, if you go and get in line, they will then give you the shot, whether you have an appointment or not, because there's so many people that don't follow through with their appointments and these shots have to be given, like they can't be saved. So they'll go ahead and give them to you.
now I heard about that too. Somebody told me, in fact, Wes.
There were telling someone I know went and they said, tell your friends like to come in the evenings, and if their shots available, give them to them.
Yeah, and Wes Perkins, who called the show in the 6 o'clock hour, told me about a place. He goes, yeah, show up at 8 o'clock at night when they close, and if they have extra vaccine, it's like, first of all, the Spurs play almost every night, so I'm working. Secondly, when the Spurs don't play, I'm sleep deprived and exhausted and about to pass out at 8 o'clock.
Like I don't have time to go there at 8 o'clock, wait for 90 minutes, and then drive back.
Yeah, so okay.
And to maybe get a shot.
So the poll question, what was that again? What is everybody looking forward to, Shannon?
What weekend sporting we're looking for? Most people are saying the men's Sweet 16. The women's Sweet 16 only at 9% of the vote.
Come on.
Plenty of people saying match play here.
Woo!
So if you're out there today and you see me,
say hi to Shannon. Say, hey, why don't you get him?
Like a nice wave.
Say, why doesn't your mask match your outfit?
Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
going white mask today.
Shannon, enjoy match play. We expect a full report from you tomorrow on everything you observed at match play.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Cool. Dave Ayler, outstanding, sir, as always.
I'll come back and do it again tomorrow.
You're back tomorrow.
Yes, me again.
Beautiful. It's good to know who's hanging with us. Okay. You're great. You rock. Thanks to Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs and Tan Man, the Monkey Man, Tanner Carlson. Have yourself a great Thursday, March 25th. We will see you in 21 hours. Adios, amigos.